It's Thursday, June 26th. Let's level up. Volatility came down. We actually had a mini look below and fail of the 611 low at 1623. I'd be careful if we got over high of day incrementally, anything over the 1678, but really over 17.02. That's been our key pass don't pass line. If that were to clear, I could see a volatility pump to 1845-ish. That's the 20 MA and the underside of the old up channel. If we do keep falling, anything below 1623 and anything below 1611 could keep leading off, which is obviously positive for the bulls. As far as futures go, we are stacking up some VWAPs here. 60.39 half. We actually tagged out the 61.33, so that could come off the board. And then we had one today at 61.81 quarter. In the Qs, it's 21,926, 22,341, and 22,590. These are obviously downside targets. In the Qs, I'm seeing the 50 MA 30 minute as key support, so just use that. Anything above is still higher. Anything below could see a liquidation break, maybe even down to some of those VWAPs. In the ES, we seem to be holding the 20 MA 30 minute, although that is very tenuous because obviously that's a quick MA. If that were to break, we could see liquidation breaks even down to the 61.2875 to 61.4375. But I'm also thinking here, if we can't hold 6,200, maybe we just pull back to the 6,100, that whole $100 table thing. That is a thing. As far as SPY goes, we are very close to the all-time high at 613.23. I've told you to be on guard for a look above and fail. It may not just be a one-day look above and fail, so do keep that in mind. Anything below today's low of day, though, at 608.37, I think could see a liquidation break, probably in somewhere into the 605s, maybe even an overshoot to somewhere between 598.95, which is the 20 MA and rising, and the 10 MA at 601.86 and rising. As far as the Qs, new all-time high. Anything that remains above 540.81 can continue. We had done some fib extensions. We could see the 573.71 as long as we stay above. Just stay on guard for a little bit of profit taking, maybe some end of quarter, end of month, end of week lock-in. Yes, Monday technically is the last day of the month, so maybe it gets carried forward, but I could see a little bit of profit taking into the Friday. Remember, we're getting very close to July 4th, and a lot of traders are going to be taking some of those days off, maybe even the whole week. So as we get closer to the holiday, I think that the volume will kind of thin out and maybe profit taking could happen. As we've discussed, I think Apple's going to be choppy and disappoint both bulls and bears. For the bulls, they need to get it at least over the 50 MA, currently 202.64. If you want to do some kind of a longer dated call spread, long 205, short 225, you could always roll down that 225 strike if it doesn't start working right away. I'm good with that. Do keep in mind we have earnings coming up on 7/31, and that could be a little bit dicey. Nike had some cruddy earnings, but the stock actually had a positive reaction, currently trading at the 69s in the after hours. I see there being resistance closer to the 200 MA, so 71.77 to 70.92-ish area. That's the 61.8 of the range in the 200 MA. I think that area is probably a good opportunity to sell into. I may do some type of a put ratio playing for a retest of the 65s, so I'd probably do something like 70, short 65, maybe 1/2, or maybe 1/1/1 if I went longer dated. I'll have to see what the options look like tomorrow at the open. Positive Nike could be good for Apple, and it would be very telling if it's not. Apple may be doing a Perplexity acquisition, so that could be weighing on the stock. Usually, because Perplexity is not public, the stock that is acquired goes up and the acquirer goes down by that amount. So Apple may take that hit. That hit, though, would be the one I think to buy the dip on. NVIDIA, new all-time high. One of those dojis at the highs always worries me about a gravestone doji or evening star. Careful if we get below the 154 to 152.89-ish area. That could be the look above and fail, and we could see a pullback. I think if it does keep going, channel high comes in close to 161.90, so maybe have some orders to pepper out up there. We've been bullish on, I told you I thought we'd get anchor VWAP. Now stop out, get below 48.14. I am looking to do some type of a 1/2 put ratio there, playing for like the 38-ish area. So I'm going to try to fill that tomorrow. I'll keep you up to date what I do if it gets filled or not. Tesla hit the 50% fib, pulling back, a little bit of sell the news post robo-taxi, makes a little bit of sense. The 319.03 to 325.10ish area needs to hold. I'd say if the bulls can hold that, they're okay. I'd probably be looking to buy the dip if we saw a larger liquidation break to the 299-ish level, roughly the 100 MA and channel low confluence. Amazon perking up a little bit. That had been lagging a little. Anything over 214.84 is good. I see 218.40 to 219.97 is the next resistance. I think it could make its way up to 225 by Prime Day. That's of course July 8th through 12th. Have some orders peppered out there and look to be a seller. Google, we had talked about buying the dip around the 165s. It's now up into some resistance. I like trimming at 173.79 plus. I do think ultimately this will get back up to higher levels, but it seems to keep getting these headline tape bombs. So just be a little bit careful with that one, but I still like it. CoreWeave continuing to pull back. The 20 MA is holding so far at 151.83. Bulls there need to get it over the 10 MA at 164.40 and really over the 4.236 at 165.28. I still think pops are a good opportunity to lock in some gains. I'd probably be a buyer of Anchor VWAP if we got down. It's currently 105.46 and rising. I do see some more strong support somewhere between the 125s and 130.76 on an interim basis. Circle, which we call son of CoreWeave, is now respecting the channel. Bulls there need to get it over and stay over 213.14. Anchor VWAP there is 187.20. Channel low comes in closer to 170s. So that could be an opportunity for a buy the dip. If you're looking for the Mobros, I think anything over the 2-day high here at 227.54 probably stops out the shorts and gets that pump up, maybe even all the way back to the 259s. Bitcoin acting well. I've told you I see resistance between 108,960 and 110,150. I think if you're long, you could use the interim raise stop at 107,145. But I think the bulls there are generally okay as long as the 20 MA holds at 106,311, but it does have to hold. Gold has been holding the channel low and the 50 MA. Careful if the dollar starts rising, that could be problematic for gold. It seems to be in this range between the 317s and the 291s on the lower end of the range. We're still sort of in the upper half of the range, so just stay a little bit frosty there. Don't let it get below the 50 MA, and for sure not below the 303.54 swing low. Generally speaking, markets are at highs. We could see some selling as we are in a responsive market as opposed to an initiative market. Keep an eye on NVIDIA because that is technically here a breakout. Let's see if that breakout holds or not. If the breakout fails in NVIDIA, it seems likely the breakout in the Qs could fail. I'd also look to see if Apple can start playing some catch-up. If it can't rally on a good Nike, that tells me that they may be doing the perplexity play, and that might be viewed as weakness by the market because Apple has been lagging in AI. I do, however, think that that dip would be an interesting one to buy because I do think that they're going to have a rally later on in the fall for the iPhone event like they do every year. Amazon also looks pretty good. Keep an eye on that one. Google as well. You need to see those stocks all sort of lining up for still higher prices. Some of them aren't at the highs, though, which is interesting to me, considering the Qs are making highs. But if the Qs keep going, it may drag those names along with it, as opposed to the usual vice versa. I don't know that you necessarily need to front run the short, but do stay on guard for the look above and fail levels, and I'll push them out if we see them. Like and follow for more.